You want me to invite the entire class to a birthday party? Okay. I'm posting this because it was my idea, but I didn't do it. My coworker has a daughter in 6th grade, elementary school in our school district, and she's kind of popular. He wanted to give her a good birthday party because his other 2 daughters kind of stopped spending time with him in middle school, and he kind of wanted a last hurrah. She chose to do it at a roller skating rink, and he went all out, renting the whole place out for the party. She invited most of her classmates and some other friends and family. After giving out invitations, she got a letter to deliver to her dad and return signed. I'm assuming to school. It said that students must invite all students in their class, or none at all. This apparently is a school anti-bullying policy. The problem is that some of the students are very problematic. One is a racist kid who has made threats about bringing guns to school. The other has behavior issues and once threw a chair at a group of students, sending 2 to the hospital for stitches. There were some other students she wasn't close with, but willing to invite in order to comply. When he told me about this, I asked, "Did you have a security deposit or something on the roller skating rink?" He said it was a $200 deposit for damages. I told him to require a $200 deposit from those kids if they want to come. It worked. The kids obviously weren't going to pay a $200 deposit, and the party went off without a hitch. ETA. The invitations were emailed to the parents. One of the teachers overheard, and that's why they made her invite everyone. ETA number 2. For those saying he should have ignored the school's rules, they did say they could withhold privileges if he didn't comply. There's an end-of-year trip for 6th graders. It's kind of a big deal, and they didn't want to risk that. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Jon. Back here again at the river and the bridge house, and beautiful day. Almost too bright to do a recording, but it is what it is. You can't really see the river with the sun behind me like that. But anyway, yep, there's some geese swimming in the river. The current is strong as crap. It's almost all the way out now. The tide's almost all the way out. And just watched the bass boat go sailing under the river. Guy's wife was driving, and I'm even with it being low tide, I'm kind of surprised they didn't rip the cowling right off their outboard motor. But hey, they didn't call for an opening, and it's on them. Whatever they want to do. People are strange. But yeah, back to the school and bullying and all that birthday party stuff. That's something I've never understood. I don't understand how school districts think they're going to fix bullying. They're not. They'll never fix it. Kids are always going to be kids. Some are going to be nasty little a-holes. Some are going to be sweet. Some are going to be in between where they can be the occasional a-hole, but most of the time they're all right, you know. Most kids fall into that middle category where, you know, for the most part, they're great kids. They have their moments. All good. But, you know, to think that you can fix bullying by making students invite their bullies or troublemaking kids, and you know they're troublemaking kids because they make trouble every day that they're in school or around another group of kids, you can't fix that. And I think to force that onto other people is just wrong. Should there be bullying in school? Absolutely not. But this isn't going to fix it. It never has. It never will. And to force that on parents and threaten to withhold privileges from your child and all that stuff, I think that's totally wrong. I don't know. Give me your opinion down below. I mean, like I said, I'm not for bullying in any way, shape, or form. I'm just the opposite. But I think that's just asking for trouble. That's not a good that's not a good solution for, you know, curbing the bullying. So anyway, sometimes you got to play along and, you know, maybe tweak the rules a little bit. You want me to answer what you expect to hear? Okay. Back in my days working for a Big 5 consulting company, we were mandated to attend several courses. The one that relates to the story was called Corporate Image and was about looking the part, being well dressed and such. Being that the company had a strictly suit policy, the idea, of course, was kind of an indoctrination to the Barney Stinson's school of dressing. Who the hell is Barney Stinson? I guess I'll have to look that up afterwards. I was having a particularly rough day that day, so we could say that my attitude towards the course wasn't the best, and I sat in the back. The guy in charge, let's call him Corpo, starts the course by showing a video of a guy wearing flip-flops, bathing suit, t-shirt with surfer logos, badly trimmed beard, and ponytail, explaining some technical stuff in the most boring way, stuttering and showcasing a poor knowledge of the subject. After the video finishes, Corporate asks if we think that guy is a good communicator and that the message got through. Everybody says no. Corpo asks why. People start saying that he doesn't look the part. Then Corpo asks me. I reply, because he's boring as a white wall and doesn't know the subject well enough. Corpo doubles down. Don't you think that the way he's dressed has something to do with it? I say, if he's good, knows his stuff, and communicates well, We could be fully naked for all I care. Everybody laughs except Corpo. Corpo starts a full 15-minute rant about how looking the part, how wearing a suit is the most important thing because it makes someone believable and trustworthy and blah blah blah. I interrupt him once to say, lawyers are among the most untrustworthy people on earth and they all wear suits. He continues his rant by saying that nobody would trust a lawyer without a suit and blah 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 again. Okay, so this is how we roll. Suits are the most important thing, and if this is how you expect us to reply, fine, I'll comply. Fast forward to later in the course, he shows footage of Steve Jobs and Steve Ballmer talking engagingly with the audience and being generally well regarded as good spokespersons while wearing their typical outfits, which, guess what, are not suits. When the Q&A about Steve's videos starts, I say, they don't look trustworthy. 2 of the top 20 rich people in the world and they wear something that I can buy for like $40 at any shopping mall? Where are the suits? Corpo by then is kind of furious with me, but I've managed to engage the rest of my colleagues into my side of the equation, so we start arguing who's more trustworthy. And if the brand of suit goes directly proportional to the trustworthiness of the guy. Examples go from Pat Riley with his Armani suits to Don Corleone with his tailor-made ones. Corpo has lost the class, and everything ends prematurely when someone asks, wait, are military suits trustworthy or not? Corpo gasps, thinking where the conversation could be heading, and dismisses us ahead of schedule with a, okay, you've all passed this course, I think we'll end it here. So, I mean, I gotta say, there's probably something to be said for dressing nicely. You know, the days of wearing a suit, I don't trust any, well, I don't know, I can't say that. I have a hard time trusting a guy in an overly pretentious suit who's trying to sell me a car, who's, you know, even speaking to me from behind a pulpit, all the way to teachers, instructors, things like that. Even guys in TED Talks. I mean, what's the point? Look, you can look nice in a suit, and you can be trustworthy at the same time. You can also wear street clothes and be trustworthy, and, you know, I think it's more about your confidence and what you're speaking about, and your ability to relate to your crowd. You got to know your audience. I'm still learning mine, but you guys are helping keep me on track. And I don't ever wear a suit. I don't wear a suit to funerals. I don't wear a suit to weddings. I will wear a suit jacket, so I tend to dress a little more country. I wear my nice boots, nice pair of clean jeans, not all mucked up, pair of braces, suspenders, nice button-down shirt, and a blazer. Always some kind of hat, whether it's a cowboy hat, a flat cap, things like that. Mostly the flat caps because they're easier to jam in your pocket if you're at an event where you should really remove your hat during certain parts of whatever. I don't know. I just don't think a suit creates any more trustworthiness in a person than just being pleasant, polite, well-spoken, and well-versed in your subject, whatever that subject is. I would have said to the instructor at that point, okay, let's imagine Mr. Ponytail and flip-flops in the best suit you could find, okay? Clean him up, cut his hair, trim his beard, whatever you want to do. The guy still talks like a bumbling fool. Does the suit really instill any trustworthiness? I mean, I know they over-dramatize things for these corporate videos and training videos and things like that, but the suit doesn't make the man makes the suit. If you are confident and well-spoken and well-versed, like I keep repeating over and over and over again, and you wear a suit, fine. If you don't wear a suit and you're still well-versed and everything, fine. We're all good. I don't know. I think suits are dumb these days. I think they're outdated, but that's just me. You want your 2 pieces of toast the same size? As you wish. I, female 33, live in a regional coastal town of Australia and used to work in a great little family-run cafe. Think great coffee, yummy food, beautiful garden, courtyard, and mostly wonderful customers. One summer during school holidays, on a heaving Sunday morning, I was zooming around doing a quick dish run and started clearing some empty mugs from an older lady, in her 60s, with her 2 young grandchildren. She had just received her breakfast and was adding condiments to her 2 pieces of toast. She stopped me and said, I'm just looking at the menu and I can see that I paid the same price, $3, for each of these 2 pieces of toast, but they aren't exactly the same size. I look at her toast and they're both large, but one is approximately 10% smaller than the other, so I assume she's just making conversation, and I smile and say, yeah, and I continue grabbing items. She stares at me and says again, they aren't the same size, but I paid the same for each of them. That's not really fair. I realize she's serious and start telling her that this is because we use a local handmade sourdough from a beautiful wood-fired bakery baked literally just 7 kilometers away. The loaves are rustic, not factory perfect. She's not having a bar of what I'm saying, insisting she's paid the same price and she wants 2 pieces of toast the same size. This is when my incredulity ends and my petty steps in. Cue malicious compliance. Fine, I'll be back in a couple minutes. I take her toast into my boss, female 33, tell her the story, and she's like, say no more, friend, I've got it. Proceeds to cut 2 equal-sized slices of bread from the smaller end of a loaf and toast them perfectly. I then had the pleasure of taking 2 pieces of obviously smaller toast to the lady and say, here's your 2 pieces of toast, the same size. The look of shock turned to anger turned embarrassment on her face was absolutely delicious. You want to behave like a toddler? Then you can eat like one too. Even in factory bread, I don't understand. It's very rare that even in any restaurant here in the US, and I can't imagine Europe and Australia and all that aren't pretty similar. If you're using factory made like store-bought type bread, if you're using a sandwich bread, which are all square slices here, they don't have that little arch on the top. You may get lucky and get 2 pieces that are pretty much the same size. Even the ones with the little hump on top, maybe. But a lot of times they just dump the bread out of the bags right into a big pan so that they can just grab and toast and butter, toast and butter, toast and butter. So they're not really trying to be careful and see which slices are which. If you're using an artisan bread, you're paying for the artisan bread. You're not paying for size, so I don't know. I thought what this server was going to do was take the slices of bread back to the kitchen, set the 2 slices of bread on top of each other, and trim the crusts off all the way around so that they were exactly the same cut size. That's kind of where my brain was going, but the other one works perfectly well too. People want to bicker and argue and be weird about, how much they're paying for stuff over the silliest things. If you paid for 3-egg omelet and you got an omelet that obviously wasn't made with 3 eggs, or it wasn't cooked properly or something like that, maybe okay. I can see that. You pay for a certain thing, you want a certain thing, you're supposed to get a certain thing, but the bread, that's not the hill to die on, really. Now, if it was half the size, I might see an argument for that, but still, is it really worth, stirring up trouble over? I don't think so. You want files? Sure, here you go. December 2020, middle of the pandemic. I was contracting as a stress engineer, basically checking that things are strong enough. 1 week before Christmas, I get a call from the agency I was contracting with saying that my contract was not going to be renewed. I live in the UK and had been working from home for about 6 months following the lockdown. I was part of a small team. One member of the team was a weasel in love with his own brain. He used a lot of big words and waffled on in front of the client, basically an expert turd polisher of the highest caliber. I was more succinct and just stuck to the facts when reporting on the progress of my analysis. So the whole project was a bit of a shit show. Client kept changing their mind about how they wanted this part analyzed. I was just a contractor and as such had to do what they said. I never did find out why it was me they decided to can, but I can guess. I think the multiple changes and delays were put on me, and Weasel Boy obviously convinced them he was very much more valuable than me. For a bit of background, this guy was a serious D. I was once tasked with checking some of his analysis. I did. I found some errors in his calculations. I corrected them and sent them back. He didn't like that. Not one bit. So he takes a knife to her, laughing as he does it, and turns to me and says, "Why so serious? Let's put a smile on that face of yours." Sorry, lost my train of thought there. Anyway, I correct his calculations and give him a much simpler way of doing it. Rather than use my method, which was correct, he spends 2 days with his weaselly little face buried in a math textbook looking up a more advanced matrix method which did the same thing as what I had given him, but he was too busy jerking himself over the matrices and how great they are. Bear in mind the following: as contractors, we were there to get the job done. He had a method, the one I gave him, and he refused to use it. He wasted 2 days of the client's money looking up a method that did the same thing. A few days later, we were making coffee, and he says that he had sent his calculations off to the client, who was really impressed with my matrix method. I was gobsmacked. 1, you're a little prick and I hate you. 2, you wasted 2 days, you little arsehole. 3, it isn't your method. You read what others had done and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourself, so you don't take any responsibility for it. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it, packaged it, and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. Well, sorry. So needless to say, he was a weasel and a cerebral narcissist, and he just needed drop kicking. But he just kept on. Enter D-Head number 2. This guy is technically our leader, and well, he was a prick as well, but I won't get into that too much. About 4 months after being let go, I've been scratching around for work for months. I'm married and we have 3 kids. Savings used up, my eldest actually gave us money from his trust fund to tide us over. I had taken a job in a warehouse working Saturday, Sunday, Monday doing 12-hour shifts. It was tough work and the supervisor was a bastard who needed kneecapping. So I took this so that I could continue to look for work during the week. One day I'm sitting there and my phone rings. D-Head number 2 says, "Hi, how's it going?" Well, F you, prick. You haven't spoken to me in months. I say, "Oh, hi, how's it going?" D-Head number 2 says, "Do you remember that analysis you did? Well, do you still have the analysis files? The client has lost them." You cheeky, 4 months and not a word. Never once tried to help me find work or even drop me a text, and now you want my help? Oh, my friend, there is a special place in hell for you, you soulless, money-grabbing cockwomble. I like that word. We don't use it enough here in the US. I say, "Yes, I think I do, but they're not the latest iteration. You'll have to check for some of the later updates." D-Head number 2 says, "Oh, great. If you can send them, that would be great." Send them? Why don't I send you to the back rooms where you can get a stick job from an entity, you effing wanker? I say, "Sure, will do." I was gobsmacked. How can people be such pricks? The client lost the files? So? Sounds like a personal problem. You might wonder why I gave him the files. Well, because I knew something he didn't know. The reason why I was able to summarize the results of the analysis so quickly was because I had written some code to go through all the output files of the analysis and strip out only the results that we were interested in. I gave him 40 files. Have fun manually looking through them and stripping out what you need. It would take ages. Oh, and like I said, they were old files and out of date. Well, take them and shove them up your arse, and while you're at it, tell that weasel that he's a cuckolded little hen-pecked sphincter, and I'm glad that his wife spent all his money, and his mother-in-law lives in his house and complains at him. Thanks for reading. Jesus. Okay, I have to say, I'm a little jealous. Being from the mid-Atlantic region of the U.S., East Coast, from like sort of the bottom end of New England down to not quite the South, the true South. We're over the Mason-Dixon line where we are, but not by enough to count. But anyway, people from the southern U.S. and people from Europe, mostly England that I'm thinking of, and Australia, have such a way with words. And I'm kind of jealous that I don't have that vocabulary, but it would probably get me in trouble if I tried using it here anyway. I had a hard time even making it through this story, so there's that. Mostly because I don't practice with it, but it was enjoyable to read. First of all, if you fire me or don't renew my contract or lay me off, which is just another term for firing, but anyway, if you let me go from the company, either as an employee or a contractor, I don't care which, and you call me 4 months later looking for files, you can shove it because you're getting nothing. I wouldn't have sent them to him at all. I don't care if it would have took him ages to do it or not. You're not going to call me and ask me for favors after you kind of hung me out to dry, so piss off. I have to lock my dog in the bathroom when working from home? I work from home, and my home is a studio apartment. My workplace has a no pets policy. I thought that it would only apply to bringing pets to the office. I didn't know that it would also apply on Zoom calls when working at home. I got an official strike for breaching that policy when my dog was in the background of a Zoom call. My dog was simply sitting in the background. The only place where I could hide my dog out of view was in the bathroom. No worries, Pete. I got a still image of dogs in a dog park and set it as my Zoom virtual background. My dog was, as usual, sitting behind me, but out of their view this time. A friend of mine was doing work from home, and one of their policies was that you had to be in your home office. Now, let's be real. Most people don't have a true home office. It's their dining room table, kitchen table, whatever, coffee table in their living room. They stack up some books to get the camera up. I mean, I got this laptop sitting on top of my internet box, trying not to overheat either one of them, just to give me some elevation, but for the camera. But I'm not sure how they could tell, but this guy, he wanted to go to the beach, and he could do it from, a table off to the side at the beach, and still participate in the meeting, not be over distracted like I am looking at the geese on the river. I mean, they're freaking geese. We have Canada geese everywhere. In fact, I don't even want to call them Canada geese anymore. They don't leave. Doesn't matter. Summer, spring, winter, fall, they don't leave. They are naturalized citizens at this point. They're not Canada geese. They might look like Canada geese. They might sound like Canada geese, but these are Eastern Shore, river geese. I don't give a rat's behind. But anyway, sidetrack. Distractions. That's what we were talking about. Distractions. So even when this guy couldn't make it to the actual beach and he was sitting at his home office, his dining table, he would make his virtual background the beach. It would be motion. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how Zoom works, and I hate Zoom, quite honestly. I'd rather work with Teams. But anyway, he made a motion background with palm trees swaying in the wind and the occasional some kind of beach bird of some sort. It wasn't seagulls. It was something different. But yeah, it was weird. But that was distracting to everybody because the whole background was moving and the birds were going. So, be careful what you ask for. There was no policy against different backgrounds. I'm sure they probably made one later, but don't be a jerk about it. If I'm being productive and getting work done, I should be able to work from wherever I want to. Just like these videos. I got the rumbling of trucks going by. Today's been the busiest day on this bridge when it comes to trucks. Normally it's, car, motorcycle, bicyclist, pedestrian, more cars, and the occasional truck. Nope, today is like more than 50% trucks. Tow trucks, food trucks, a fuel truck just went by a few minutes ago, and I thought for sure this little concrete shack was going to topple off the edge of the bridge when he went over. Speed limit's 25 on this bridge, and he was doing every bit of 40. Not sure how this bridge hasn't fallen into the river yet. All right, till the next video, we'll see you.